Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back, everyone. Great to have you here today on our Friday review show, where we're going to be going over, of course, the very best of the week. This week, I actually have 3 different products to review with you here today. Much more to come, some follow-ups in the future that I'll be talking about that. But again, Friday review shows are my chance to be able to bring you a lot of what I've been experiencing, researching, thinking about, and go over a review if you missed any of the topics earlier in the week. So one of my favorite chances to be able to share a lot of what I love. So I truly do love the health and wellness and fitness-based space. So whether it's exercise equipment or books that I've been reading or products that I've been using or things that my wife has recommended to me, like you'll see one today, these are things that I love to be able to bring you. My very best of the best are at stephencabral.com/resources. So whenever you're looking for a sleep product or a nutrition product or let's say skin product, etc., all of those are at stephencabral.com/resources. It's not all of them, but it's the ones that I really like, and I just kind of put them there and I say, okay, here's exactly what I use and definitely recommend to you as well. So we'll get to all of those today. I always love to be able to start the show with a little bit of an update, a little bit of recap of what's going on. Again, when we're looking at this show, today's episode 1904. So if you want to go to stephencabral.com/1904, all of the links will be there. Just to let you know, this show's recorded a little bit more than a week in advance. We may already have filled our 100 openings for the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute. That is very likely because we had a very big start to the month, which I'm always excited to see. More health coaches wanting to get certified, essentially. A lot of people might have no background in health whatsoever. Some might already be practitioners, but we really invite everyone in. We teach them the de-stress protocol, and then level 2, if they decided to take that on, they learn about lab testing. They learn about actually learning how to read at-home functional medicine lab tests, and then make suggestions, recommendations based on those. So really, really nice. That is episode, well, it's not any episode. It's been going on this past month. So hopefully you've checked out integrativehealthpractitioner.org. We also celebrated our 1900th show this past Monday. Really nice that it fell on a mindset and motivation Monday to start the week, episode 1900, because one of my favorite shows is really the Monday shows. And that's because without the proper mindset, success-based mindset, it's so difficult to make any of your goals and your best life come to reality. It really is. But if you develop the mindset that you know, you can make anything happen. You really can. So that was episode 1900. About 100 days from now, since we do a daily show, we will celebrate our 2000th show. I want to do something really nice for the community because, again, this podcast is really about our community. You've supported me for the last 5+ years. You've made this one of the top health podcasts in the entire world. So, again, I'm so grateful for this opportunity to be able to do this. I want to be able to give back in some way. Episode 2000 will be coming out July 28th, I believe is the date. And I want to do something fun that week. So we'll either I want you to tell me, what would you like to do? I'd love to hear that in the comments below. So let me know. Should we do office hours? Should we do some type of giveaway? What exactly should we do? I would love to hear that. How can we get together as a community? Of course, it'll be a really fun show, and we can do cupcakes, whatever anybody decides. Let me know. I'd love to hear about that. All right, our big promotion for the week over in the global virtual-based practice over at Equilife. That's EQUI.LIFE. You don't want to miss this. We've only been able to do it once before, and that's because it's really hard to make this happen, but we've done it again. We did it a couple months ago with our minerals and metals test. Well, we're literally giving away a functional medicine at-home lab test. Now, we can only give away 250 of these, but we are giving away our omega-3 inflammation-based test. It's one of the absolute best tests that you should run but not enough people do it. Here's why. You can say that you're eating the best diet in the world, that it's anti-inflammatory, all those different things, but you really have no idea how it's affecting your overall inflammation in your arteries and in your body without running an inflammation-based test like this omega-3 test. So this test is going to show you your omega-6s to your omega-3 level. Now, I used to not supplement with omega-3s because I said I'm eating a healthy diet. It's predominantly plant-based. I eat a grass-fed meat, a pasture-based meat, a wild fish when I have those. I came out to be about a 6.5 to 1 for omega-6s to omega-3s. I was actually shocked. It's not that that's a terrible ratio. It's just not a great ratio. And I want to optimize my health. I want it to be a 3 to 1. So what I did was, I optimize my health with some omega-3 supplementation. So it allows you to look at your omega-3s. It really does. And some people will be able to get there through omega-3s alone, such as wild caught fish. You can definitely do it. You really can. This is just going to let you to see if you're doing it through diet alone and also what your omega-3 saturation rate level is. Because if you can get it to a 9% or better, I'm telling you right now, studies show that you have a 90% risk reduction rate for sudden cardiac death. So this is an important lab test for anyone in their 20s and beyond. Absolutely crucial. Yes, you could run it when you're younger. There's no doubt about it. I run it with my daughters, but you want to run it. You absolutely do want to run this lab. Here's the thing, it's free. It's free right now over at equi.life, EQUI.LIFE on any qualifying order over $149. So you can get another lab test to pair with this one. You could get one of our daily foundational protocols, get whatever you would like, and then you get a free omega-3 inflammatory lab while supplies last. We did run out last time on the minerals and metals test. We ran out with 48 hours or 72 hours to go. So I do hope that there's some labs left, and you can find them over at equa.life. Amazing, amazing lab test. I run it every single year, and that's the omega-3. I have an extra one right behind me. So that's that. So again, this is one that I make my parents run. I make everybody run because it's black and white. Are you at a 3 to 1 ratio from omega-6s to omega-3s? Because if you're not, you have some work to do through whole food nutrition or supplementation or both, whatever you decide. And we give people the option, of course. So definitely check that out. It's absolutely amazing. All right, little podcast recap. I already told you on Monday was episode 1900, but the show wasn't about being episode 1900. The show was understanding your goals, the importance of your goals, how we view life through the lens of what we hold to have value, and understanding that your goals are going to come to you faster in the terms of actual manifestation, the stronger you hold that inside of your body, meaning your inner reality matches your outer reality. If we don't understand that, we want more depth discussion on that, check out episode 1900. Episode 1901 was all about allergies and their root cause and understanding why the true root cause below all the other issues is stemming from the gut. So I go how that is, I talk about how that is, and then also how, of course, to fix it. On Wednesday, I talked about why the flexitarian diet works so well. It's a great diet. It really is. It's not even a diet. It's more of a philosophy. And it allows you to be a little bit more, not even experimental, but it allows you to have a little bit more broad enjoyment with your diet if you choose to, while still following a strong, healthy diet. So check that out. That's on Wednesday's show, 1902. 1903 was yesterday, and that is a show by popular demand. And it's basically how to overcome viral-based fatigue and illness and get back into your workouts and exercise. So I talked about that yesterday. Really, really great. So, all right, that's the recap for the week. Now let's go over some product reviews. I actually have 3 products to show you this week instead of doing a book review. I love reading books. I read books every single week. However, some of the books I read on some weeks, I'm like, well, if I make this recommendation, I take my recommendations to you very seriously. I really do. Maybe I shouldn't take them as seriously, but I'm not going to recommend books that are just pretty good. I like to recommend books that I think will have an impact on you. So I read them, and if I think they're winners, I'll talk about them. And of course, again, inside of IHP, I give you about 40, 50 health books that I think are winners that are great. And again, I've been doing Friday reviews for over 5 years, so there's many more recommendations. Okay, so let's go over the one that my wife recommended to me this week. And as you can see, over the past week, I have been using quite a bit of it. I don't even know that I'm going to pronounce it correctly, so I apologize in advance to the company, but it's not a paid sponsorship, so I'm doing it to hopefully just promote good, clean, healthcare-based products. All right, so let's say that it's called Osea or OCA, and it's OSEA. It's a glass bottle, which is really nice when it comes to skin-based products, so there's not a lot of absorption of plastics, and it says cruelty-free, vegan, gluten-free, made in the USA, and the website name is Osea Malibu. I'll link it up. If they end up sending any type of coupon code, I'd love to be able to give that to you. So you can just head to stevencabral.com/1904. And of course, I will put the coupon code right there if they do decide to give that to us. So this one is their anti-aging body balm. So this is my very first time on their website because, again, my wife was nice enough to get this for me. And now that we are in warmer, southern-based climate and we are getting more sun, my skin tends to get a little bit more dry. So I put this on to help repair the skin, to keep it moist. And I use it for the body. I don't necessarily use it for the face. And what I'm trying to do is look up the ingredients for you right now. And this is it. So key ingredients, let's take a look at it right now, is coconut oil. And I believed it was coconut oil. And of course, my wife told me it was coconut oil. But this is a very clean product. And the reason why I use a coconut oil-based product, but not just coconut oil alone because it's very greasy, although you could, is that, and this has a lot of antioxidants with it. So it has some algae and some safflower, has some lavender, has some jasmine oil, some passion fruit seed. Nice product. I mean, it really is a great product. It's an expensive product. I'm not going to say that it's not, but it's a great product and it smells great, has a good feeling on the skin. The reason why I use it at night, later in the day, and not typically in the morning, is that it is a little greasier. So anytime, I wouldn't say greasy, it's not the right word. It's a little bit more oily. That's the best way to say it. So whenever you use something that has a little bit more of a saturated fat, it's going to leave a little bit more of a film. Now, of course, once you leave it on your body, if you're getting into bed and you don't mind a little bit of oil there, it's okay. If you're putting on clothes, though, you have to probably towel off just a little bit, right? Just towel that extra layer off. But this is a hydrating. This is a great product right here. So I use this definitely after getting sun. There's no doubt about it. And if I shower before bed after workout, I'll use this as well. So great product. I have a couple more moisturizers that I've been testing out as well. I'm going to bring those to you next week. So I'm actually going to put that in my notes right now because I don't have them with me right now, but these are nice non-toxic products. And so I'm just going to put down in my notes that I'm going to bring you 2 more moisturizers next week, a little less expensive. It doesn't mean less expensive is better. This is probably one of the better, amazing products that you can get. But again, not for everybody because of the price. And you might want to use something during the day as well that has a little less oil in it. And I'm going to recommend that next week as well. But a great product, Osea or OCA. I apologize that I don't know how to pronounce it. And a great recommendation. Of course, I know many people have used this product before. This is my first time using it. So that's why I'm passing it on to you. And they have many other products on their website. They have cleansers and they have scrubs and exfoliating products. So you can definitely check those out as well. All right. So now the next thing is we move down south for a couple months. We'll be back in the New England area to Boston, Maine by Memorial Day weekend, most likely. But I always make sure that I have a stock of nutritional supplements, like the ones that you need, but you're not going to take every day. So I have those for natural health. There's no doubt about it. I've got extra vitamin C. I've got all my GI balance. I've got all those great products down here. But from my daughters, I always make sure that I have some acetaminophen, some ibuprofen, some antihistamine if they ever needed it. So why would they ever need it? Well, let's just say during the middle of the night, for some reason, just, again, these things happen in life, right? These things happen in life. We never use them unless we need them. But let's say I walk into my daughter's room, she's calling us, she's making noises, we're like, what's going on? We go in, and she has 104-degree fever. Okay, I can use something naturally if I chose to, but my daughter's life, health overall is at stake, and that's when we can use the best of conventional medicine. So what I would use in that instance is something to lower that fever, and I could choose an acetaminophen or I could choose an ibuprofen. In the case of a fever, I'm probably going to choose an acetaminophen. But again, this is not medical advice. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't use pharmaceuticals and I don't use conventional medicine. So what I'm doing is just sharing with you what I do in my own family. And so if there's a high fever, that is dangerous. I will bring that down, and then I will look to see, hey, why was this? Now, it could just be the body fighting off whatever it was exposed to. That sometimes happens. That's why it's good to have these things on hand. But typically, when you look at a Tylenol or acetaminophen or an Advil or ibuprofen, they are filled with dyes, red dyes, chemicals. They are atrocious for the body. Now, acetaminophen affects the liver. It reduces glutathione, not ideal. Advil affects your gut, can affect your stomach mucosa, not ideal either. I'm not saying to use these for long term, but in an emergency case, you might want to have them on hand. They also have an antihistamine. We always keep an antihistamine on hand too. Why? You never know when someone's going to have an allergic reaction that needs to be fixed right away. Again, always seek out medical attention. I'm not giving you medical advice. But I came across this company as I'm just at my local store picking up products just to have on hand. This is, again, not something that my daughters are going to use unless it's an emergency, but it's interesting. This company called Genexa. Or Genexa. I don't know how to pronounce any of these companies' names. And I wouldn't be able to pronounce Equalife either if I wasn't the founder of Equalife, I'm sure. But here it is. The ingredients are acetaminophen, organic agave syrup for sweetener, organic blueberry, citrus extract, non-GMO flavor, and purified water. That's it. So if I were to go online right now, and I usually never do this during a podcast, but I didn't find out what the ingredients are on a typical Tylenol. So let's see if I can find Tylenol on a typical website, which I'm probably not going to be able to find the ingredients label on it, but let's just see if I were to be able to. Tylenol, let's type in Tylenol ingredients. And I know that you're going to find all sorts of chemicals and dyes in that as well. All right, here we go. So acetaminophen, 500 milligrams. Okay, well, that's for the adult dosage. This is a children's-based product. I don't have one for myself because, honestly, I'm not overly worried about myself spiking a fever without me knowing that it's coming on. So this is 160 milligrams per 5 mLs, which is 1 teaspoon. Okay, so here's what Tylenol contains. Powdered cellulose, pre-gelatinized starch, sodium starch glycolate, magnesium stearate, purified water, FD and C red number 40, which, by the way, is a dye, aluminum, polyethylene glycol, titanium dioxide, and yellow. Literally the paint yellow. So we have to understand is that these are the ingredients in a lot of these products that we don't want to be using a lot of anyways. But if you can find the only thing that you need from an acetaminophen is acetaminophen. But it has to be flavored with a little something for kids to actually take. So if you're looking for a liquid, this is a clean version of a typical product that you'd find. And I had no idea about this company, but Genexa makes an antihistamine, an ibuprofen, an acetaminophen, and might just want to be something that you make. What's the investment for all three of those? Maybe it's like $15, maybe $20, and you just replace them when they expire every couple of years if you never use them. And it's more like it's like a safety thing, right? Just to have. All right. So that's that. And while I was also picking those up, I picked up some Dr. Talbot's homeopathic product for pain and inflammation relief for toothaches, nerve pain, trauma, growing pain, joint pain, muscle pain, bruising, and swelling. Now, it's a little bit different, this product. It contains a homeopathic formula, which, you know my feelings on homeopathy. I wish that it worked better than it does for most people, but it's not that I'm against it. But it also contains cell salts. And in my education as a doctor of naturopathy, I studied quite a bit about Dr. Schussler's cell salts, and I liked it. I liked the thought. I liked the philosophy around it. And we actually used them for my daughters when they were teething, when they were little. We used cell salts with magnesium and other products in them that did help. So those were great to use. And so again, before you reach for the ibuprofen, you may want to try a product like this because there's almost no downside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link these up in the show notes at stephencabral.com/1904 today. And again, I hope they're helpful. I mean, I really, Maybe they're right for you, maybe they're not. Maybe you're a grandparent, you want to have them on hand if you're ever watching your grandkids. Just might be something nice to have, especially if you're your children or people looking to do a little bit more of a natural, healthy lifestyle. And in an emergency, in a pinch, they need to use these more conventional over-the-counter based treatment protocols. Okay, so that is that. Now we have our research for the day and looking forward to sharing that with you. I've got my research right here. And I talked about this on Wednesday's show. I do hope that you tuned into that about why the flexitarian diet works so well. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I am going to link up to it. So this was recently published. Let's see here. How companies skew the science of what we eat. And this was on Food Politics. And it was published because of an article in the Annals of Internal Medicine. And so the problem is how a lot of this research is actually interpreted. They interpret the body's ability to eat, let's say red meat in this case, by people who are eating a ton of red meat versus people that are only eating small amounts of red meat, or not small amounts, but some normal amounts of red meat. And they're using that as a study versus the people that are not eating red meat versus a normal amount of red meat. And so what they're finding though, and I'm going to quote this for you. So the problem with this latest report, however, is that it examined only studies comparing people who ate lots of red meat with people who ate less. It ignored the studies comparing meat eaters with vegetarians, which often produce more dramatic results. So while the study reported only minor health benefits by reducing meat consumption, it ignored the big question of meat versus no meat. One study of more than 70,000 people, published in JAMA, Internal Medicine, found that vegetarian diets were associated with a 12% lower risk for death from all causes during a 6-year period. So the best advice from this person, which is, Dr. Nestle, suggests that reducing red meat consumption reduces the risk of cancer and heart disease and possibly dementia. So, I mean, that in the dietary guidelines, we'll just say here, is no more than 26 ounces per week of meat, poultry, and eggs. 26 ounces is about a pound and a half of meat, a little bit more than a pound and a half of meat. So that would be like 3 8-ounce servings or 4 6-ounce servings, which I think is much more appropriate. And I'm not against that recommendation at all. And I talked about this on Wednesday. It's not about being right. It's not about being right, because you might actually be able to consume a pound and a half a day of meat, and you might have no issues. But some people are. They really will. And as health professionals, we really have to err on the side of do no harm. And I eat meat, so I'm not saying that I don't. I eat meat and I eat fish. And believe me, there's a big difference between conventional meat and grass-fed meat or pastured meat, and again, or wild fish. I talk about that on Wednesday's show, so I'm not going to go deep on that today. I just want to start to have the discussion and be a little bit more open-minded that we certainly don't need a lot of meat to be healthy, all right? So for our physiology, we simply just don't need a lot of it. We can eat some, not a lot, okay? And if you want to err on the side of caution, it's probably the right thing to do. But of course, I will let you decide what to do with your own health. Okay, the last study of the day. This is important because I've been talking about this on previous podcasts. Let me see if I can grab those for you right now in case you're interested in hearing more. Let's see. Well, you know what? I'm going to link them up in the show notes below instead of going back. So if you go to stephencabral.com/1904, we will link all of those up. I just wish I could find that for you. And, episode 1853 was one of them. So one of the hidden toxins that you're being exposed to. And then I did one on a Friday review. But basically, they're called microplastics, and they're invisible to the naked eye. You don't know that you're taking them in, but it says right here, this study was done in environmental science and technology, and it was done at the University of Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Again, published in environmental science and technology, is that the average American eats 70,000 microplastic particles per year. So microplastics are tiny, microscopic bits of plastic from food and water containers that break down of larger plastic products in the environment. The health effects of microplastic consumption are unknown. So think about consuming 70,000 microparticles of plastic every single year. What do you think that's going to do to your detox system over time, your cells over time, your brain over time? Remember, plastics contain a lot of these PCBs, PBAs, et cetera, that you're being exposed to. So our job is to, one, consume less plastic, that's for sure, and also to Again, people are always saying there's no need to detox. There's no need to detox. Trust me, there is. You can run your own environmental toxicity test. You can find that over at equa.life, and you'll see the toxins that you're exposed to, especially even if you're someone that's living a healthy life. This is why it is important to do seasonal detoxes while at the same time really being cognizant of all the different plastic that you're being exposed to. So that's it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. All the show notes will be at stephencabral.com/1904. Have an amazing weekend, and I'll be back tomorrow with our Cabral House Calls, answering our community's questions. Take care. Thanks so much for tuning into the show. Really glad that you could join me here today. And before you go, as a listener of the Cabral Concept, I want to make sure that you are the first to know that we are giving away one of our most popular functional medicine lab tests. We were fortunate enough to be able to work with this particular lab in order to be able to get a bulk price to pass that on to our listeners, our community members, those people that really support this type of healthy global community. So one of the great things is that over time, we've been able to really build up relationships with these labs that we can get a block of labs, this time 250, that we can actually pay for. This is something that's been part of my mission for a really long time, and is to introduce people to the world of functional medicine and at-home lab testing. It completely changed my life over 20 years ago now, and I simply want people to know that this is an option. So this lab, the omega-3 lab, is just often too overlooked. It is going to share with you the levels of inflammation from omega-6s to omega-3s in your body. You are literally going to find out, maybe for the first time, how many omega-6s you have and how many omega-3s. Omega-6s are more of the inflammatory fatty acids, and omega-3s more of the anti-inflammatory. Our goal is to get you to a 3-to-1 of omega-6s to omega-3s. But the truth is, you actually have no idea what your level is, even if you're eating a healthy diet, if you've never tested before. Before I started testing, I was at a 6.5 to 1. And I was eating a healthy diet. I didn't know that actually I was getting more omega-6s in from a lot of the foods that I was eating healthy foods, than omega-3s. After I did that, changed my diet, added a little bit of omega-3s, within 12 weeks, I was down to a 2.9 to 1 ratio, which is that sweet spot right at the 3-to-1. We've done this now in our practice many thousands of times, and I would love to share this data with you. To get your free omega-3 profile, this amazing inflammation-based test, it's a value of $279, and you can get it absolutely free if you are one of the first 250 to take advantage of this. Get your free lab right now over at equa.life while supplies last. Head on over to equi.life while supplies last. I'd love to hear what your results look like, and take care.